Okay, so here's our SparkFun, what is it, voice recognition for the Arduino. And let's take a look at what's inside of here. So it looks like it comes all, you have to assemble it yourself, a bunch of circuit boards and stuff. A couple bags here. Okay. And here's the shipping. So really no directions, just something about the shipping. And I guess we'll try to put this together and see how it works. Okay, so here's one of the bags, and we'll open her up. It's got some static stuff on it. Let's see what's inside of it. So you probably want to be careful about no static on this parts. Okay, so it looks like there is a microphone and some headers and stuff. Some wires that have to go into there. And that's the first bag. So we'll put that stuff up there.
Do we have an air camera that doesn't see a mile away?
Well, this one sees up close better. Okay, let's open
You
up the
can't
second
get
bag.
up close, you can only get far.
Yeah, it'll see pretty
This
good.
was 2 feet from it.
Here, let's open up the next bag. Can you focus on the next bag?
It's done.
No, it's still going, I think. Okay.
Look. Nothing.
Okay. See, it's still recording. Here's the second bag. Looks like an Arduino type board with some headers on it.
I didn't do this for one big YouTube video.
Here, can you hold it like that? Okay, up a little bit. Get up so you can see. Okay, so here's our the voice recognition part. We're going to work on this, and it has some little bus bars or little pins that we got to solder into it. Here's the top and the bottom, and so we're going to I guess fit these pins into. They have a couple short ones here. They go into there. A couple longer ones that go on this side of the board. So I think I'll just kind of stick them through here, and be careful to try to hold them in position while I flip it over. Let's try doing some soldering. So I like to use, when I'm doing tiny circuits, I like to use a fine soldering iron and get down there. And you know, remember, you don't want to overheat the junctions. So kind of get it in there and don't get too much solder on it, and go through and do all the pins. And we're going to solder this guy up, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, so we have our handy dandy magnifying glass here. We'll take a look at the solder joints in our circuit, and we're looking at them here, and they look like good solder joints. So we got all the pins soldered on there, and they're not shorting out or anything, so I think we're all set with that stage. We'll move on to the next part. Okay, so I'm following along from the online manual for the Shield EasyVR 3, and so we have these plugs here. One's got just a plug with 3 socket pin receivers there, and this has got 2. Here's the microphone.
Are you going to say the HTTP address?
This is the Shield VR 3, which is supposed to be the best one at this time. And so it looks like. Here, can you hang on to that for a second, Sarah? Hold the camera. Okay. And so here's the microphone. We can plug the microphone into the 2-pin one. Okay. And I think the other one is for a speaker if you want to hook a speaker into it. And so we'll just plug that guy in so we don't lose this little connector. And there we go. Okay, so now we'll move on to the Arduino Shield part of it. So I think this part is done. Okay, now here's the Arduino portion, and there's 4 of these header things. And if we look at this guy, it looks like the 4 header things go on the 4 sides over here. And they're the plug-in to the Arduino. And oh, okay, sure. And so looks like the voice recognition module actually has to be permanently soldered into here, but I suppose if you had headers, which I might have, you could solder some headers in there and just plug it in, because it does have the plug-in pins, and I may do that because I like to have the versatility of unplugging things if I have to. And the more you solder things that are connected to circuits, the more you risk damaging them, of course. And so let's try to take these headers and fit them into the proper places here. And we'll flip it over and try to solder it, get them all in place. And there we go. So I'll set the solder. And so let's try soldering these pins and these headers in place, and I'll try to put the whole thing together and see how it works. Okay, so we got these headers up here, and we'll start soldering them on. Try to get them straight. Get a good solder joint on there. And just kind of go down the row and solder these, make sure they don't touch. Okay, so we go ahead and solder that, and we'll go on to the next step. There. Okay. Okay, so here we go. We got the voice module and the Arduino adapter, and let's just put these things together. You can fit these pins into these guys, and I think we'll just go ahead and solder it like that, and we'll test it out after that. Okay, here we have our voice recognition shield, and here's an Arduino Uno, so we can take this guy and plug him in here, and get those pins all lined up and plugged in. Then we can be ready to start programming it, maybe. Okay, so here is, since we're running Linux, we have to download and install the libraries manually, because this is a exe for Windows, the installer, the EasyVR installer. And so here's where the libraries are located. I double clicked on that, and it created a zip file, Easy Arduino library. Okay, let's just install this library. And so if we go start the Arduino Ide up, which is under here, you do a search on that. That's kind of what it looks like up there. Okay. And so we have it running, and we'll go into Sketch.
Does it only work on Linux?
No, it works on Windows too. Import library. And we're going to do add library. And we actually put the library under downloads here. And I guess we can...
What is that bumsy thing?
I don't know, sir. It will actually import as a zip, so we didn't actually have to extract it. And here is our EasyVR Arduino library. So we'll click on that. Okay. I had some issues with it, but let's see. Files. Okay, so here we have the EasyVR completely assembled. Let's take a look at this. And I was having some issues with it initially because if you look here, there's some jumpers up at the front. Let's refocus. And so the jumper was originally set on the middle position, which I think was PC, and I had to move it to the end position before I could get it to work. And I also noticed that there's I didn't hook up the speaker yet, but speaker makes a beeping sound when it registers the commands. And so we have a VR set up from the example. So let's take a look at this. Okay, so we're gonna take our USB cable here, and we'll plug it into our USB port on this guy, and we'll set up the EasyVR program. So I did check all the solder joints, and when it's working properly there should be two lights on it, a green light and a red light. And then of course we have the microphone that we can talk into. And let's give this a shot. Let's check it out and make sure it's working okay. Click. Okay, so here we've loaded up, this is to test EasyVR, and this is under, after you've installed the libraries for EasyVR, it's under these examples. You go all the way to the bottom, EasyVR, test EasyVR, so we can load it up there. And I've loaded that already onto the sketch. You click the check mark and then the download, and it loads it up into this guy. And initially when I was trying to do that, it wouldn't load it properly when the jumper was set on the PC. So you have to make sure that that jumper is set onto, what is it? SW, I guess, the farthest to the left if you're holding the board upright like that. And so let's load up, there's something called the serial monitor, and it allows you to see what's going on inside the microprocessor's head and also send commands over to it. Okay, sometimes you have to make sure that the port is set up. So you go to port and select the proper port, because sometimes it's not selected. And then once the port is selected, you can go to video monitor, and okay, so it says bridge request running normally, so it looks like it's running normally. And let's test this out. So the way this program works is it looks for something in group 1, which is robot. And so if you say robot, it should recognize that, and then it'll go to group 2, which is actions. Let's move this guy up a little bit. And then you can tell it which direction the actions are and how much to go. So it's kind of a neat program. So let's test this out. Robot. And I think what I had to do last time is there's some commands at the top here where you had to tell it to cycle through the different guys, and I believe that was B. So if I send a command B over to the serial port, it will get this program working the way it's useful. So send B. Okay. Robot. Okay. Tack. Left. 5. Okay, let's start the set over. Robot. Run. Run. left, 4, okay, 4, robot, stop, up, 2, robot, move, up. Okay, so go through the set again. Robot, action, left, 1, robot, move, up, 5. So if you do these in that certain sequence, then it seems to be pretty good at recognizing your commands, and you could hook this up to some kind of robot and have it execute your commands. So it looks like it's working pretty good. It's not 100%, but it's a lot better than anything I could do, and I'm pretty impressed with it. So anyway, this is the EasyVR version 3, and so it looks like we're able to get the solder joints good, and it looks like it's working properly. So this is Dr. Janes, and thanks for watching.